Where are you going? Right when I got the camera out. She's in a hyper mood. You got somewhere to go? Okay, she must have an appointment. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. This flower arrangement, use that loosely, holding up really well. Well, kind of. It looked better this morning. So that's like 5 days. It's not terrible. I haven't changed the water or trimmed the stems, nothing like that. I didn't know that the Hedichiums did well in vases. Semi-well. I bet that if I had changed the water and maybe put something in it, they would probably be doing even better. Even opening up some more flowers. Already off to a rough start here, just rambling. Might want to know what's going on this week. I would too. That would be nice. The joys of home remodeling, making solid plans, that's a luxury I don't really have these days. But I can say some things that need to be done, or things that I would really like to do more than things that need to be done. The planters by the pool steps, I got to get something in those. It's bugging me. They look terrible. I still haven't put a new pool liner in. I don't know. They're just not showing up. Keep calling them. They won't come. You can go outside. We talked about this. Forgot it's nice out. It's not even cold today. I don't know what that's about. It's supposed to be a 3-day project. We're pushing 3.5 weeks here. What the heck is what it is. I have a point that goes along with all of that, which is that these pool planters, I should not be adjusting my filter while I'm talking. Okay, there we go. That's better. It's kind of cloudy out. Didn't need the filter on the lens. I've been wanting to clean up out here. Things are messy from having the palm trees taken away. And I was about to do that, and then I realized, well, I should plant these up first. May as well make a bigger mess before I start cleaning up the original mess. That is the one perk, too, of not having the pool set up right now, is if I spill dirt and stuff and it gets in there, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to keep this thing clean. It's just filling up with leaves and looking disgusting. So who cares if I spill some dirt in there? Which means this would be a great time to get those planted up. I was going to start moving plants inside. That's what I had originally planned for the video, but the 10-day forecast looks pretty good. So I don't have to. I started off my previous video loading up the cart and going, oh, I need to take these in or whatever I was saying. That particular night, things did get chilly, dropped to about maybe 42, something in that range, but now we're back up into the 50s at night and 70s and lower 60s during the days. I don't see a reason to do that other than it would get them out of the way so I could do other things out here, but I'm going to have plenty of time to do other things out here when these go in the grow space. That's all that fun information. So I have those two planters down there to plant up, and then there are the Miami planters over here, which I would like to put something in. I have another arb. Neither of them are looking very good, but they look good enough to pot up and get them through the winter. So I'm trying to decide what the arbs and the Miami planters. Oh no, hold on. Didn't mention what the other options were. The Spring Grove Arborvitae. Beautiful trees, this one. Got a little bit brown. I had some drought this year and the sprinklers weren't hitting it as well as I thought. That's what I had in those containers last year and they looked great. So it shouldn't be a complicated decision, but just leave it to me. I'll make it one. The only reason I'm tempted to do the arbs and the Miami planters is because things are just a smidge more sheltered over there near the wall. And I know that those can be more delicate during the winter when they're in a container. Whereas the Spring Groves over here, they've already overwintered in those big containers by the pool steps before, and there weren't any issues. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I do, however, think that these would look better in the Miami planters because they're more airy, right? Having the regular just green arborvitaes in those blue containers, it just kind of looks like a big green thing on top of a big blue thing, but that's okay. That can be fun too. These arbs, they are in solid clay. I think that's why I had some issues with their survival. The ones I put in the ground, that is, the root mass it was so hard to keep them hydrated because water was just moving away from the clay that was in those containers. So I'm gonna try again. Probably not gonna be going for ones that have been field dug. That didn't work out very well. We also had a drought, so that surely has something to do with it. That and the arbs, the two arbs that I have, they're not looking great. So I don't know if I would want those front and center right by the pool, right? It really doesn't even matter. I'm thinking about this way too much. Sometimes it's just fun to talk about these things. I'll go ahead and take these over to the other end and get them potted up. I did upgrade these to larger containers when I moved them down to the other end in the springtime. I had just potted them directly into the big blue pots last winter. I didn't use a cash pot, anything like that. It was winter, so they didn't root out, so they basically just had their like 7-gallon pot shape to the base of the plants. So I bumped them up into an odd size. It's like a 12.5-gallon. They seem to have done well. They've done some growing. Excuse me, trying to walk here, Turbo. I suppose could just walk and talk here. Stuff to do. Can explain all these things as I'm going. Ugh, everything's so dry. Seeing as how things are dry, I bet that's not going to come up with the container in it, is it? Yep. Gotta set y'all down, see if I can loosen that up. Oh, that was quick, loosened up, no problem. Oh, that is loose though. I think the container will make it. I can hold it like this. Hold it sideways, that way it won't fall off. Oh, almost, there we go. That's better. You can't see it, everything's so backlit. What did I do with that filter that I had? Do I need the filter? Looks like the sun's going behind another cloud. I'm talking about this thing. It's a filter for the lens. It's kind of like putting sunglasses on the camera. See, slight difference, kind of. Not a huge difference, but it gets rid of a lot of glare. Still hard to see though. See, got one side with sun, one side without. It's fine. You know what's going on here. That already is an improvement. I haven't filled in around them. I don't have any annuals to put around these either. I don't know if I care. Could throw cabbages and kales, pansies, maybe some ivy around the base of these. I did that last year, but it just seems like such a waste of money. They never look good come like January. And then into February, the cabbages and kales never hold through the winter, not in the spot. It's just not sheltered enough for them. So why bother? I think this is nice. Just having something green over here is good. Do I need to talk about these? You want to know what kind of trees these are? Probably. I know I mentioned that they are Spring Grove Arborvitae. I leave the tags on these so I can just reference back. 5 through 8, 25 to 30 feet tall. It's sort of a sport of an emerald green Arborvitae, the giant green, whatever we were calling these things, green giant thujas. Yeah, that's it. Downside to the green giant thujas is that they get a brownish coppery tinge to them in the winter when things are really, really cold. And I believe one of the perks to the spring groves is that they're not supposed to do that as much. I didn't really notice it on them last year, so I would say that seemed true. We had some pretty extreme temperatures for a few days last December, and I don't recall them getting that coppery brown tone to them. I don't think, do you all remember? I don't think it happened. Top hat begonias. Was so excited about those in the springtime. Planted them in several areas, mostly at somebody else's house, but I had these two that I kept over here. They're a disappointment. That's my final review. Disappointing, because they were labeled as a begonia that could take a decent amount of sun, but then I put them in the sun and they just fried. The air was really dry this year, so maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not really sure. The ones I had in the shade didn't do much, but they grew some and they flowered, not as much as a dragon wing would have, or a lot of other varieties that are more abundant and easier to find. And then I had some that I put at my sister's house that got a good amount of morning sun, but then afternoon shade, and those, they grew and they flowered. They did well, but they just always looked like junk. I hesitate to say it because I really should might watch this video. It's because the outside of the leaves, they would scorch and always have a crispiness to them. And that was just with a few hours of direct morning sun. And it said they could take some sun. Maybe they were mislabeled. I'm not really certain about that, but I meant to talk about those in one of the garden tours and I forgot. So there we go. All caught up with those. Okay, and now the arbs. Those are heavy. No way I'm taking y'all along with me while I do that. The other one's over here. I'm gonna move it on down to the other end. All right, turns out not as heavy as I remember. Okay, what do I do now? There. Is that good? You can see what's happening? I forgot that I need to, I gotta re-level that pot. By re-level, I mean scoot it around a little bit and see if it will stay in place. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Try that again. And see if, well, it doesn't want to stand up. It's not looking the best. We talked about this, the field grown arbs. We don't get along, but it's an improvement. If I get that straightened out, I think that'll look really nice. Is it too much? Are these too much for these pots? Maybe. Imagine it being winter. That's important. So nothing else is out here, right? It's just going to be some sticks. Those elfin ears, they won't be here. Just going to be the blue pots and a stone wall with mulch behind everything. There's some evergreens over here, but they're still doing their thing. They haven't grown very much. I think they'll look nice, right? when it's like that. I want balls, something with balls, like nice topiaries, something of the sort. I have these boxwoods over here, but unfortunately, I've already promised them to someone. If I had a couple more of those, that would look good. However, I don't have great luck with boxwood topiaries in containers during the wintertime. They desiccate very easily. They get all brown and burnt up, so actually probably wouldn't go that direction either way. But maybe a juniper or something with the balls, lots of balls. I think that'd be cool, but this is what I have. It doesn't cost any money. I like that. I'm hopefully going to be able to go to some nurseries sometime next week and check out whatever they may have left, because something with more of a gold hint to it, that is so lopsided. I need to fix that. I'll be fixing both of them. These aren't done. I still have to backfill, but I don't want to backfill them just yet because, like I was saying, I may end up going a different direction, which is fine. If I do that, I'll either put these in different containers or I'll just drop them into the ground in their containers. I'm not going to try and unpot them this time of year. I don't see them doing well because of that clay that's around their roots. And really that may be the better way to do things, just to overwinter these period to get them through to the springtime, would be to have them in the ground in their containers with mulch around them instead of out and exposed. Okay, well I have some thinking to do, but this just looks better. So for now, this is good. I'm thinking, like I said, maybe next week, if I could make it to a nursery, might be able to find something with more of a gold color to it. I just started to say that like a minute ago, didn't I? And then never got to that point. I think that would look nice in the blue containers. I don't usually go for the evergreens that have that yellow glow to them. I like my evergreens to be nice and green because things are so sparse and brown where I live during the winter time. Every bit of green is valuable. I don't want to see yellow during the winter time. I'm okay with having yellow plants in the garden during the spring, summer, and fall. But in winter, I want lots of green. It'd be a wild move for me to do that. But I may do it if I can find two things that are inexpensive, a decent size, and things that don't get absolutely massive, because I'm gonna have to find a spot for them in the garden at some point, right? Maybe over here. This could use some color. There's a needle palm over here. We don't have to think about that right now. Oh, you know what? This right here, I'm not okay with this. I need to find a dry spot. Gonna get wet here. There has to be something in those containers. That's too bare. I gotta fill those in. So the arbs, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm thinking tomorrow, just gonna make the time, go to some nurseries and see if I can't find 1, 2, 3, 4. It took me way too long to count to 4. 4 more evergreens, 2 that match here, and then 2 that match for the Miami planters over there. Hopefully be able to find things that match that don't cost a ton of money and are things that I want to have out here. That's the tricky part this time of year, is finding things that match. With the nurseries, they've stopped getting things in. So here's hoping that when I pick up tomorrow, can find some things that match that, again, don't cost a lot. Something I will say about the Spring Grove arbs, they are so much better in a container than the regular just emerald green arborvitaes. Not long term though, right? Because these are going to get huge. Generally with trees, you have like a 3-year span in a container. After that, you need to pull them and either get them in the ground, put them into a much larger container, much larger container with a lot of fresh soil, or do a root prune, which can be a risky thing to do. I wouldn't do that on arbs. I wouldn't do it on most evergreens, period. The hydrangeas down there, they're going to need that next year, but I can guarantee it, they're not going to skip a beat. Pull them out, throw them on a tarp, cut the roots back, put them back in there with some fresh soil, and they'll be good to go. With these, I have another few years until I need to get them in the ground, because they're still in small enough containers that I can keep bumping up the container every year, and they'll just keep doing okay like that. It also helps that they were in fairly heavy shade for part of the year that gets some sun up to about mid to late July, and then it's fairly shaded from mid-July until, well, now, because the leaves on the trees. Whereas regular emerald green arborvitaes, I don't always have the best of luck with them in containers. Not over the winter time, that is. They just don't like it. They're finicky as it is. Once you have them in the ground for a couple of years, they're pretty sturdy. Once you make it past year 3, but up until that point, they are not my favorite plants. So if you were thinking about arbs in a container, maybe give it a shot. If you have them in a sheltered location where there's going to be wind blowing on them throughout the winter time, that dries them out a lot. Personally, these Spring Groves, they've just been champs. They've done wonderfully for me. Haven't grown a ton, but I haven't cared for them a ton either. So that's on me. Okay, we'll pick up tomorrow, hopefully, and go to a nursery. And I'll see what can be found for the other containers and move things around and get it done right. Dang it, I hope that 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 the hood of the car isn't what was in focus that whole time. That would be unfortunate. The sky was absolutely stunning for the drive out here. I'm at the signs aren't, it's over there. It's in the street. Greenscape Nursery. Pick up some shrubs. Look, they're still fully stocked. They got a lot of stuff here. Nothing to say about that, just I might want to see it because it's cute. It is very windy, so that could be a problem. Oh. Look at these Japanese maples. These are beautiful. Very big and full. It's a nice color combo. Got some Celtic Pride Cypress down here with some, what is this, black pearl? Yeah, black pearl heuchera. Looks nice. Those look good together. Oh, there we go. Balls. Golden globes. I think that might be too small for those giant planters, though, right? Wichita blue junipers. They're nice. Kind of. They have a good color. So many options. Lots of things. These are fine. Highlander boxwoods. Well, we've talked about me and the boxwoods in containers during the winter. I don't know about these, but they're a good size, and it says that it's a fast-growing one. Prefer a zone 5 for a container. The price is good, though, for ones this size. Boxwoods are normally pretty pricey, and I like the way these look when they're full grown. So when they get too big and they need to be moved out into the landscape, it wouldn't be so bad. I mean, okay, so if I were to get those and I just have to throw something over them if it gets really cold out, it's doable. Something to think about. I also kind of like these ligostrums over here, these privets. Hickory. I don't know if that's how you say that. Vicary. I don't know if they're an evergreen one or not. I guess I could Google it. They are evergreen, at least according to a few Google results that I saw. How many hydrangeas are still in bloom? Oh, the pufferfish. I love pufferfish hydrangeas. They're so cute. They have such big, poofy flowers on them. And the little lime punches. I'm impressed considering we're approaching the end of October. I think you just stay there for a moment and walk around and look at things. These are cute. Too small, but very cute. They have that golden color I've been talking about, Forever Goldie Arborvitae. 15 to 20 feet tall. So that's something you really need to want that. Those will get big. I also like the narrow spruces. Those are way too expensive for what I'm looking to do. These are cute. A nice size. What are they? Just junipers? Spartan junipers, maybe? Oh, Hinaki Cypress. That would be awesome in those containers, wouldn't it? Have one on each side. That's the whole point. All those containers are one on each side. Not doing it. They're like $170. That's not happening. Those are cute. Might be an option. Smarsgard spirals. Just arborvitaes, but spiraled. Sugar and spice arbs. I love these. They stay small, so they give you the effect of kind of what you see with an emerald green giant. This is more of a light green tone to them. I think they only get like 8 feet tall. I've been trying to find those. I'm pretty stoked that they have those. These are nice looking too. Really great full lush plants. Those are just the regular green giants. This is like the perfect size. It's just a smart guard, just a regular arb. Is there another? This is nice. This is a great little Japanese maple. Look how clean the graft point is on here. You can barely even see it. This is a Rhode Island Red, I think. Where's your tag? Rhode Island Red. It's a small one that goes 6x6. Fairly slow grower. 3 to 6 inches a year. Zone 5. Oh, it has so much potential for bonsai. I'm getting this. Have to. It's too nice to not get. About yews. Yews could work. These are Stonehenge. They're a very narrow, upright yew, and those two square blue planters. There's background noise. I'm at a nursery. You know what's going on here. The back of that entire hedge is lined up with Hicksii yews, so that would be good. Yews are sturdy, too. Really sturdy plants. They're not much to look at, though. Not much of a wow factor going on with them. They're just pretty small and immature. They're kind of full. I don't know. Oh, those are beautiful though. Waterfall Weeping Redbuds, Ruby Falls. That's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that one. It's a nice looking plant. Ooh, not evergreen, but beautiful. Yeah. Lovely bald cypress. The problem is if I got this, y'all would get mad at me because I would bonsai it, which means that I would just cut everything off the top and start it over again from the bottom. No, won't be doing that. That's a nice looking one though, isn't it? Another plant that gets massive, so it's one to plan on. It's not something that I would consider a smart impulse plant, right? You need to know where you're gonna put something that gets like 50 to 80 feet high. And that's gonna take them a long time. Hollies, not a good idea. They get a lot of windburn. Those are stinking cute. A lot smaller than what I've been looking for. And also this type of cypress that these are made out of, I have issues with windburn with it. Windburn is like the #1 problem with everything in the wintertime when it comes to my container plants. I think that'd be a good idea. And they're kind of small, but they look great though, don't they? New nursery. That was a struggle. Holding my hand still, trying to get zoomed in. Take an L for that. Sherwoods Forest, right down the street. Great selection of plants. Lots of evergreen shrubbery. I picked up some good stuff from Greenscape, and I can't wait to show y'all. Since this is right down the street, I thought I'd come in, have a browse, let y'all have a chance to look at some plants. Golden Child Arb. It's a fun one. Gold balls. Hey, that's a good price. Laurels, $40. I know that was brief, but it started to rain, so just couldn't hang out at the nursery. Had to come home, and here's everything I got. There's some good stuff here. In the background, you might hear a marching band. There's a high school. I'm not that close to it, but it's for some reason very loud today. The leaves are still on the trees. Hope it doesn't bother you. Just working through it. It's better not play anything copywritten. How funny would that be if I get a copyright strike because of a marching band playing in the background? That really wouldn't be that funny at all. You want to see the plants? The Japanese maple. Y'all saw this. You didn't necessarily see the one I picked out. Rhode Island Red. Talked about this one at the nursery. It's a little crispy. Not surprised with that. We had a very hot and very dry summer. Look at the trunk on this though. It's a very nice graft. It has some budding going on down there. The trunks budding out the bottom, which normally I wouldn't want in a tree that's going into the landscape. However, for bonsai purposes, that is fantastic. Not going to be doing any type of pruning or shaping with this time of year. Probably not even going to repot it. I think that that's just going to get thrown in the ground somewhere for the winter time to hold it over until spring. And then when it looks like new growth is ready to push out, then it will get a prune and a repot. I also grabbed 2 of these lovelies right here. There's a theme here with the evergreens. I managed to find plants that fit my needs. That can be tricky to do. Selection was really great. It wasn't just, green giants and the regular Smarsgard emerald green arborvitaes. They have all these different sports. And that's exactly what I wanted. These are all perfect for what I need out here. These 2 right here are emerald feather juniper. So these aren't arbs, by the way. Think of like a Taylor juniper, except small and green. That's what these are. A lighter green, a lime color, which is what I wanted for those containers. There is zone 3 to 8, which is perfect for containers. And zone 6, we're gonna go a few zones below that, the safety baffle. With the cold, these max out at 12 feet tall. 12 feet tall, 5 feet wide. So not as narrow as you would get with the Taylor juniper. They're gonna be more wide than that, but they aren't going to get huge. So I'll be able to keep these containerized for several years. I'll talk more about that when I'm done talking about the plants. The thing I like the most about these, they're a little spiky. The emerald feathers, they have these like poofs on their head. You can see it, it's not the head, but the growth point at the top comes out like a crazy hairdo. And usually see that on these until they're like 8 to 10 feet tall. Everywhere I've seen them, they just kind of look like a bunch of junipers with crazy hairdos coming out the top. They aren't going to get so big that's going to be trouble finding a spot for them in the landscape either further into the future, which is great. That was the case with everything here. Wanted to avoid things like the green giants, right? Because there's just, you have to have a spot for those. They get gigantic, hence the name, and the bald cypress, love them, native, but again, where? Where would I put that? So things that stay small, that's what I wanted here. The next one, this one was more of an impulse buy. Where's your tag? Need to show everybody the tag. Soft serve. It's backwards. Here we go. Soft serve cypress. There's the tag. Going to be hard to read, but the main thing to note here, 6 to 10 feet tall, 5 to 6 feet wide. So another short, stout, chunky. Just going to be a chunky, fluffy, shaggy looking tree. Not going to get so big that it's going to take up a lot of space, but it's going to get big enough that it's going to provide some privacy. And again, just like the others, I don't have to say this, I mean, it's the same thing for these. They're small enough they can stay containerized for years to come, which is great. With, I mean, there's caveats, we'll talk about that. And then sugar and spice arbs. These, I'm so excited about these. Wanted some of these for a while, a couple years I've been hearing about them, but have never seen them for sale. You can see they have a nice color to them. I think cinnamon and spice would have been a better name, because look at they have that cinnamony color to the inside of the main stems on them. Lighter green color than most arbs, and then there we go. And then you see there, in 5 years, expect them to be 6 feet tall, 2 feet wide. Nice and narrow with great color. These are perfect. These are exactly what I wanted. So I was hoping to find something more this color for the Miami planters over here, the tall blue ones. I didn't see anything that was quite big enough. There were some of the like extreme yellowy types of cypresses, but it was too much yellow. This lighter green, I'm good with that. The yellow, no, it's not during winter time. So the sad arbs that are down there, I'm gonna pop those in the ground, and then everything else is gonna go into containers. Not fully set on where they're going to go. I would like to have these in the Miami planters, but I just don't think they're really big enough that might look silly in those, since I don't have anything to underplant them with. And I think that the color from these is going to pop better in the shade where those square planters are that I pulled these out of, right here, where these were sitting back down there in the shade. See, I think a lighter green color would stand out better and be more proportionate. These would add more privacy though, which would be nice. I don't know, y'all know how I do things. I'm gonna play around with them, and then we'll come back, maybe move some things around some more. I don't really know. We're gonna start raining again, so I'll probably have to pick up on this tomorrow. Oh no, never mind, forget that. I forgot, I have stuff I gotta do tomorrow. I just realized that I have no idea if I'm gonna have enough potting soil to do all these containers. I haven't even gotten halfway through this one, and I've used like 3/4 of a bag. Okay, it needs some more soil, but that's gonna have to do. I don't have a lot to go around here, so it's gonna have to share. Done with those, don't need those anymore. The soil at this point is really just more for stability and insulation. It's not like the plant is going to do much growing during the winter period, let alone when it's in a plastic pot inside of a pot. All right, those are looking good. Got them straightened out for the most part. The shape on them in general is a little bit wonked. Because of that, they're gonna look kind of wonky. That's all right. And what do we think of these? Huh? Yes. Probably would like it even more if this one was centered and standing up on its own. I would say that is a vast improvement over just the regular emerald green arbs that were in there. They're more narrow, they fit better. I should probably plop a cabbage or kale or something in the front of those containers. And it looks like I might need to re-level them again too. I'm guessing with all the wind we had with these big arbs in there, they probably shift around. I bet that's why they're not looking right. Proportionately, I think that these look much more fitting for these containers. And they will for several years too. They don't get huge. They're not going to be the fastest of growers. I think these are like an 8 to 10 inch per year. somewhere there, which, I mean, that's actually pretty decent for a tree that's only supposed to get 12 feet tall. I also like the shade of green, the way it works with the blue that's on those pots better. I like the wispiness and airiness that the junipers have, and there's something kind of beachy about it. Not really tropical, just sort of coastal that you get with a nice wispy juniper. And then the sugar and spice. There they are. Not much to say about them. They're really tiny. I don't know if it was even worth it, but it will be someday. They're going to grow, and when they grow, that'll be great. They'll be fine in these containers for years to come. I haven't potted these in yet. I ran out of potting, so I went through 3 giant bags just filling in those 4 containers, and I actually still need some more. I only filled up 3 of them. The other ones need just a smidge more to top them off. I like the shade of green better for down here. I don't know how well it's going to show on camera. Adjust the exposure so you can see the contrast with the texture and the color. Just seems more fitting for these spots. These spots. Well, there's 2. Yeah, okay, that works. These spots. Yeah, we know that that's not right. Not centered, they still need some work, but when I get the actual potting soil so that I can get them stabilized in those containers, that'll look better. Look much better when they're centered. And then when those even grow just like, well, just another 18 inches on each one of those, that's going to be beautiful. I do like the way the sugar and spice thuyas, the way those look with this blue, the black and the blue. Those go really well together. Really just that chartreusey green color that this type of arb has on it lends itself to blue. I think it would go well with any shade of blue in a container. You find a stick? Yeah, you can have the stick. You're a good boy. Such a good baby, good boy. So what I had been saying earlier about these being more long-term as far as perennials go, trees go in containers. I mentioned how about every 3 years or so, generally a good idea to either get a tree out of its pot and into the ground, move them up into a much larger container, not just a little small, like 1 to 2 inch on the outside diameter. Go ahead and step them up into a much larger container. Be double the size of what they're in at that time. Or pull them out, prune them up with the limbs and the roots, on the limbs and the roots. Wooden roots. Trim them up if necessary. Don't do that if you don't know what you're doing though, because you could kill the tree. With smaller ones like these, I wouldn't want to repot these right now. I think that would be a bad idea. Early spring, that's when these will get repotted. They'll go up into a larger container size. I'm talking about everything that you've seen here. So all of the new ones, and then the ones that are down there on the sides of the pool steps. I already forgot the names. There's so many weird names with the plants. I know these are the emerald feather, sugar and spice, and the ones that I already had that I was talking about, Spring Grove. Spring Grove, yeah, those, they'll get moved into a 15-gallon container. These will probably go up into a 12. The sugar and spice may end up just going into, oh, you can't even see them. They may end up just going directly into those containers. I'm not sure. Gonna have to wait and see how they do, because it is a pretty shady spot. And if I want them to keep that nice shade of green on them, they're probably going to need more sun, but also this spot does get a lot of sun from late November through mid-May, somewhere in there. There's a good amount of sun. About half the year, and that usually seems to do the trick with the arbs over there on that side of the yard. So yeah, there it is. Looking great, just great, right? It's beautiful, everything's so nice. I'm gonna focus on things that make me happy, like plants, and how have some green out here. I know probably wanted more tropical plant stuff, and I didn't come through on that. Here's a banana. Tropical. Yay. In a few weeks, the plants will all be inside, and there won't be as much to do outside. So there'll be plenty of tropical and houseplant content from November through, well, forever. I try and mix it up. This is just what's the vlog. This is what's going on right now. Evergreens, perennials, need them outside. It's so bland and boring in St. Louis during the wintertime. There aren't a lot of evergreens, mostly oaks, maples, a lot of deciduous trees, just not a lot of color. I need that lushness. Especially since we do have winters where there are plenty of days in the like mid 40s up into the 60s, mixed in with temperatures that are like, you know, negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit sometimes. We can bounce from 0 to 50 within just a few days. And so it'd be nice to have more greenery so that on those nice days, be more motivated to come outside and hang out. Because y'all know none of this is here in the winter time, right? That's all just piles of mulch. There's a magnolia over there. It hasn't done much growing. It's only been in the ground for 1 year now. The sable miners are in there, but you can't really see much of them. They were even covered for part of the winter if it's cold enough. So just getting more greenery. And this ties things together better, I think. It's nice having them in these containers and then 2 more containers over there. It keeps the eye moving and keeps things flowing. I want that when there's a giant ugly pool cover out here all winter long. You need something nice to draw your eye over to the spot that's gonna have a giant tarp over it. All jokes, y'all know what I mean. I think this is where I have to go because the wind is picking up, and I've done enough in this video that I don't want to move on to another topic and then it gets hard to pick out a title. That was enough. This was fun. Major improvements for the yard. So excited about this Japanese maple. Cannot wait to work with it. And absolutely just freaking in love with the, look at how bushy. It's so cute and bushy. Soft serve. Love it. I wish they had had 3, because that soft serve, that'd be the perfect plant to go on each side of the steps up there. 10 feet tall, 5 feet wide, evergreen, just fat, chunky, but it's not going to get so massive that it'll take over the area. A nice color green will look good with snow on it, and they're hardy and sturdy plants. But just the one. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm just happy I was able to find the one, and I have a great spot for it. Right over here, there's a spot right here, a big gap that looks right into my neighbor's kitchen, and it's awkward when you're in the hot tub. That'd be a great spot for an evergreen. Not big enough yet to provide any privacy, but you know, someday it'll be there. It'll get big enough. Comment down below, say hi. What's going on in your gardens? Are you done with the gardening? There's still, you saw the nurseries here. There's still plenty of time for gardening left. Lots of stuff to do outside. Favorite little evergreens? I should have emphasized more on the little aspect of this. I mentioned the reasons that I like them smaller, right? Because it's not going to be something where it's really hard to find a spot for them. And I have lots of little gaps in my yard where I would like to fill things in for privacy. So things that don't get as big, like the sugar and spice and the feathers over here, perfect options. And for a few years, they'll be great in the containers. During the summertime, I'll just be pulling them from these containers and tucking them back into the shade, probably along the back end of this berm. Since there's now 6, I can alternate them by height. I think that might look kind of good, actually, on the other side. Probably should have talked about that, about the plan for the summertime one. Yeah, now you know. Yeah, like I said, favorite little evergreens. Some nice things you're trying to find to fill your spaces. That's beautiful. Look at that. That's a very nice pinkish red leaf. The 80 days running strong. Okay, hope everybody's doing well, having a great day, a great life, and everything's just going absolutely beautifully for you. And of course, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. It did not want to stay in focus for that shot. Bye bye.